Hi, everyone. Welcome to sunny side of San Diego. My name is Vinnie. My co-host over here.
Carini.
There we go. Simply Carini. Now, what? If you're watching us live right now, thank you for following us. If you're listening to the podcast, hopefully you had a great holiday season. I'm assuming this is going to go live after the holidays, so hopefully you're having a holiday season. And it's still not too late to put goals together to make 2021 a great year. And that's something that, end of the year, you always put those kind of goals in place. And you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go to the gym every morning. I'm gonna do this every day, right? And then a week goes by, a month goes by, you see less people at the gym, less people at the gym, less people, less people, less people. So something that me and Michael wanted to talk about was putting the goals together that you can actually consistently do for the whole year, because consistency is going to be better with one item than not consistent, probably with four items. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Definitely. I think that it's very easy to say that you're going to do something and to start out fast, and maybe you're committed, maybe you're very passionate, but it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And I think that right now, while we're recording, it's still 2020 and we still have a week left. And so there are some people that are still trying to finish up the goals for this year. And even though it was a chaotic year, I had some goals that I wanted to hit, and I made sure that I hit one of them yesterday. I wanted to hit it before we got near Christmas, and that goal was to run 1,000 miles, something that I've never done before. So on top of going to the gym, on top of doing all the other stuff, I wanted to run 1,000 miles. And I started off the year very strong, was way ahead of pace, and then the pandemic hit, and then I, despite all my efforts and years of self-development, fell into negative behaviors and toxic tendencies and made a lot of excuses and fell way off pace. And then last month when my grandfather passed, I said to my grandmother that I was going to hit that 1,000 miles still, even though it was going to require me to hit a bunch of extra miles. So I hit the extra miles and I got hurt. I threw out my back a couple weeks ago. My hip is not very mobile and I've got a limp. And I knew that as we got towards the end of the year, that if I allowed myself to feel that pain, that I wasn't going to hit my goal. But yesterday, threw in a few extra miles and hit my 1,000. So for the first time ever, I've done 1,000 miles in a year.
That's awesome right there. Wow. So next year, was it 2,000?
I actually know somebody that last year did 2019 because it was 2019.
Oh, wow.
But my body just does not want to hold up for that. I could even feel it at the end of this. It was failing. And like I said that I was going to do the miles and allow myself to feel the pain afterwards, because I knew if I acknowledged the injury or the things going on with my body right now that I probably wouldn't end up doing it. So I put it off. I made sure I hit the numbers, and I feel like that on top of the gym as many times as I do it now that we can go to the gym again, because I'm doing that 4 or 5 times a week. So 4 or 5 times a week doing that plus extra 1,000 miles, I feel like that was pretty decent.
Yeah, no, that's a strong goal that you kind of put through. So have you already started looking at what your goals are going to be for next year?
Not really. I think that I've been waiting to kind of see where things land. And I think that that's the difficulty for people trying to make goals for this time. It's, if we knew what we were dealing with, then we could at least forecast certain things or try to make a plan. But it seems like anytime we try to make a plan, it gets chaotic. So I think that I was lucky in terms of a running goal, that it was one of the few things that I could do. So, maybe we try to hit 1,000 miles again next year. I think that the wear and tear on my body to do more than that would be a little extreme. Maybe I do go way above and beyond though. And even though I hit 1,000, I'm still going to probably put in some miles this week and just go a little bit above and beyond.
So how do you celebrate the win? That's something I was just thinking about.
I got a piece of cake last night.
Oh, nice. A whole cake or just a piece?
No, just a piece. Just a piece of cake. I thought, you know what? I hit 1,000 miles, and it was my second workout of the day. The past couple of days, it was doubles because it was gym in the morning and then running in the afternoon. So I said, you know what? You can have one piece of cake.
do you find you get a better results by splitting it up, having one um, lifting workout in the morning and then running in the evening? Or if you were to do it back to back, do you feel you get the same results?
No, it's difficult. My body needs the time to recover because there's such different workouts. And there's times that I'll run to the park, which is a couple miles, and I'll do like 300 dips or something like that. Or I'll do 100 pull-ups, and then I'll run again. And that second run, when your body's filled with blood, oh my gosh, it feels so heavy. It just, things don't function as well, and it's much slower. And to be honest, many of my runs were extremely slow. They were labored. They weren't pretty. There were some where I was bleeding. There were some done early morning when my body wasn't functioning properly. There were some done in the dark where I couldn't see and I don't have health coverage. So it wasn't a pretty thing. There weren't a lot of great pictures for the Instagram, but it was something that I just did. And then I did end up sharing the story, and I ended up posting it to the David Goggins group on Facebook because I thought, hey, this is kind of a cool thing. And I acknowledge that there's people that have bigger goals that have run far further. I was reading earlier this week about somebody here locally that was running 30-something plus miles a day for a month to lead up to them running 200 miles straight from, like, I think it was like Friday to Sunday, 200 miles straight. And
Oh, wow.
that's intense. That's impressive. That's a super ultra marathon right there. And I can push myself, but my body just does not hold up for that. I used to run in high school, and I got stress fractures in my femurs. So my body physiologically just doesn't hold up to some of these things.
Yeah, I think with everything going on, it's been one of those things that even if you had a goal, let's say of hitting the gym every day, or hitting the gym 6 days a week or 5 days a week, whatever that number was, even, I mean, shit, 3 times a week, and it was thrown off course because of the pandemic, right?
Yeah.
And the shutdown, especially if you're in California. In other states, maybe it wasn't as bad with the shutdowns. I think, I mean, that's something for myself where I had a kind of routine in place. Then the routine stopped because I didn't have weights, right? And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna do running. And I don't really enjoy full running for extended period of time.
I don't either.
Yeah, so it's I was like, okay, well, I want to do lifting. I want to do lifting. And so then from there, it was like, okay, I need to buy weights, and it slowly started building up, getting more weights. And now I kind of have a routine where it's wake up, lift, do the Peloton, and then basically I feel like I accomplished my morning workout. It's only been recently where I've actually been able to adapt to a new routine this year. So it's something that, okay, well, I'm going to keep this routine going throughout 2021 and to the extended future. But it's, I mean, people listening right now, I bet they had goals in place that they weren't able to accomplish, like business, I mean, personal, whatever it might be, because of what's going on around us. And maybe now it's, you know, they have the ability to adapt, to figure out kind of what they could do, you know, consistent. Because this is probably going to go on until what, July, August. So, I mean, for a big chunk of next year. So whatever you're doing to adapt today is probably going to bring you throughout next year.
So did you have any specific goals, or did you have more generalized goals for this year going into it? And then when the pandemic hit?
I'm structure oriented. So I go, okay, well, I do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. I mean, I do my routine. Or I go, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym in the morning, wake up at 4 o'clock, go to the gym, do that routine, listen to a motivational piece, and then go to work. Right? That's kind of my routine. Only recently, and then, I mean, from there, I was like, okay, well, it's too dark to go running in the morning. I'm not gonna go running where I'm at in the morning. And so now it's like getting back on the routine. Like today, I woke up at 4:30 and did my routine. I mean, did my workout routine and had breakfast, and then got onto the podcast here. So it was just sticking with the structure that I put into place and being consistent with that. Yet, I mean, adapting to what's going on now.
So your goal then is more adding to the structure and to the plan rather than, say, when you're at the gym to hit a specific target type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so much easier for me if I do this consistently over time, I'm gonna get the results that I want to get to. Right. And so that's for me, it's just easier to do it one day at a time, one step at a time. I mean, I talked to one person I had on my podcast. His goal for 2020 was to do a push-up every day, and then every day add one more push-up to it. So day one push-up, day two push-ups, day three push-ups, and so on and so forth the whole year. And I was like, well, you mean it's palatable? I mean, because every day you're just basically adding one more push-up to it. And so
that's one of the keys to making it work is something that you can visualize, something that you can see the progress on. I mean, with me, and the goal that I had, it was chipping away every single day, but you had a specific target in mind. But say you did fall off dramatically, and at one point I kind of did, but I was ahead of pace at one point too. But if you fall off and then it just seems so far away off in the distance that you can't even visualize it anymore, I think that that's a lot of times why people give up. So you have to kind of recognize where you are. And yes, you want to set a big goal, but I could have said, yeah, I want to do 2,020 miles this year. But having never done 1,000, that would have been a goal that may have been something that threw me off and that I would have quit. So I think that you have tangible levels to your goals. And then as you hit the benchmarks, it kind of gives you the added motivation or inspiration to keep going. I think that if you set it too far out there, though, that it diminishes the odds of it happening. Now, that being said, I think that once you hit those benchmarks, you can always extend the goal. So my goal was 1,000, and now I'm going to kind of keep going. We only have a week left, so I'm not going to get far beyond that. But I think that even just getting 0.1 beyond it, I think that the idea of doing more than you say you're going to do, we don't have to stop when we hit a goal. You keep adding to the goal and you keep moving forward.
Well, what's more palatable? I mean, what's more palatable? 2,000 miles in a year or 40 miles a week? I mean, it just seems more palatable to go. I'm pretty sure if that's my math correct. I mean, basically equates to a similar number. I mean, I don't know if you watch it. Do you have Netflix?
I do. The 40 a week is actually would put you a little bit above 2,000.
Yeah, a little bit more. Yeah.
It sounds so much more manageable than, oh my God, 2,000, 40 a week. Okay. That's how you gauge it. And that's kind of how I gauged it too. It was, I have to do this many a week. And so I didn't think it was that many miles. I still don't think it was that many miles, but some people were like, oh my God, that's a lot of miles, particularly for running. And I'm like, well, no, it's only this many a week. And they're like, yeah, but that's every single week for 52 weeks. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I guess, but I didn't think of it that way.
So there's a show, and I've watched it on and off, but it's called Kimmy Schmidt Takes Over the World, I think, or Kimmy Schmidt something. But the long story short, it's about a girl that was locked up into a bunker, and she gets out of the bunker, and she kind of flashes back to living in the bunker and things like that. But one thing that was interesting was she's talking about, okay, well, how did you do this activity? How did you do this for such a standing period of time? She goes, well, you can do anything for 10 seconds. So just count down at 10. Count at 10 and then just restart it. So just keep on doing 10-second bursts. And even though it's a humorous show, I thought that was kind of interesting of a way of putting it. I mean, true, if you break it down into small bite-sized pieces, like I think the same thing that Goggins talks about when he was doing the pull-ups was like, okay, well, how many do I have to do every minute? Or how many do I have to do every hour? Okay, I have to do that many pull-ups. Okay, I can do that. That's palatable instead of looking at the full number.
Yeah, it's absolutely true, because there were so many times running that you're just out there and that I wanted to quit or that I wanted to stop. Or I'm like, okay, well, I don't feel like it today. Let's just cut it short. But I knew for every mile that I didn't have time that I was going to have to do it later. So every time it was, hey, okay, well, if we do a little bit more now, then it's a little bit less I have to do later. And there were so many times that I wanted to just stop, and I thought, let's just, why does it matter how many I do this year? We're in a pandemic. Why does it even matter? Well, it mattered because I told myself I was going to do it. And because in a pandemic year, when so much chaos surrounds us, we need things to hold on to and things to look forward to and to be able to say, hey, you know what? I did this. And not only did I do it, but I did it on a pandemic year. So it was important that I didn't stop when I was tired, that I stopped when I finished, when I hit the number.
I mean, we all have excuses why we can't do something, some bigger than others. It's a matter of figuring out, I mean, not why you can't do something, but why you can do it. And that's, I think, the thing that for any goal you put together, anything you're looking to accomplish, is figure out how you can do it. I mean, I talk to my team about that all the time. I mean, don't tell me what we can't do. Tell me what we can do. And let's figure out what we can do there. So if you're listening right now, put your goal together, figure out what you're looking to accomplish, and make 2021 your best year yet.
Yeah.
Any last word?
Now that we're in this state of chaos and we've sort of acclimated in some sense to the chaos, that I know that, like I said, I like to have homeostasis. I like to know what I'm working with, and we don't know what we're working with. But we've had chaos for such an extended period that I think that now I can sort of adapt and find goals to work within the chaos. And so I have goals, fitness goals. I want to hit 315 on bench. Granted, that's the complete opposite of a running goal. So when you're putting in a lot of miles and you're leaning out, that's the opposite of bulking and hitting the bigger weights as a smaller person. But hey, I like to be a sucker for punishment. So still a goal. And then I definitely want to hit some stuff with the art. I want to hit a few more of my marquee projects this year. Any goals for you?
Yeah, it's more a production goal for my team, real estate side. Of course, helping more individuals accomplish their real estate goals, bring on more team members. And I mean, I would say probably, end of last year, I think it was, or yeah, I was, probably, I think like 13% body fat. So that'd probably be my plan, is to get into low teens by the end of next year. So it was kind of nice. Well, if you guys listening right now, if you have a goal, shoot us a text, reach out to us. Let's see if we can support you. Thanks, guys. On to the next podcast. Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, please share, and of course, tell your friends.